This is so sad. Don't pick one.
Jills, we're such fucking shameless hacks. All right, who likes Metallica? people dedicate Metallica songs to Dimebag Darrell. We're big fans of Dimebag's work, so this is One by Metallica. Sing along if you know the song.
It's me, Big Ugly Jim. I'm all dressed up because this is my CIA audition tape. And I sure do hope I get the job. I see there's chat stuff. What's happening in the chat? Oh, it's my Russian bot friend. Oh, good to see you, fella. Or lady. It can be either way, you know. Must be the promise of all those CIA watchers that brought you out today. You looking like I'm going to work? I do look like I'm going to work. Because the thing is, so there's this thing that's been going on lately. There's been this sort of ever brewing trouble between the tankies and the bread tubers. And Caleb Maupin made a video and a book, I believe, about how the mean old bread tube people are so mean and so nasty and so just doggone awful. And in that video, he claimed, intriguingly enough, that they were being funded by the CIA. And then recently there was this whole thing about there's some group, some agency that is used by the CIA and that has worked with a couple of people like Philosophy Tube. And so therefore this proves that all of BreadTube is one big CIA dark op. So, and apparently they're getting money. So I thought I'd get dressed up in some fancy clothes and this can be my CIA audition tape. But first, Mama always told me, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So if I'm going to be a CIA operative, I'm going to need some CIA-style sunglasses. So, hello, CIA. It's me, Big Ugly Jim. I know you may not have heard of me, what with my being a almost infinitesimally small streamer in the wild world of the internet. I have, I think, something in the area of 73 people that follow me on YouTube or subscribe to me on YouTube, and somewhere, I don't even know. I've got some Twitch people. I am not a partner in anything. I'm not a big streamer, Andy. But this is your opportunity to get in the ground floor of something amazing. So here's what I'm proposing. Agent Jim, you bet. Absolutely. Looking all dapper as fuck. So here's what I'm proposing. You guys apparently pay large amounts of money to various streamers for doing various streamer things. I I could be the next one. I could be the big deal. I can follow all the appropriate talking points. They're, whatever it takes. I just really think that this is my opportunity to really make them sweet CIA funding dollars. Because George Soros doesn't pay shit. Fuck George Soros. I'm so tired of hearing all about, oh, George Soros is paying people. Like, fuck. When was the last time anyone I know got one of them sweet ass George Soros checks? It just doesn't happen. It's not a thing. So, as a CIA operative, I bring a lot to the table. I have the sunglasses already. I think that's pretty important. When it comes to disrupting foreign regimes, I mean, I'm a single dad, so I've done a lot of sneaky and underhanded things to make people do what I want them to. I'm drinking I think this is rum from Jamaica, but certainly, Central America-ish. That counts, right? In the Caribbean is probably not all that Central American, but I'm familiar with the customs of putting the rum in the Coca-Cola, so that's that's something. What else? Oh, I can blend into any crowd of punk rockers. It's probably not really going to come up that often in disrupting Central American governments. But, the drug war, I'm not really a big drug user. I do smoke weed, and occasionally I will dabble with certain psychedelic drugs in Minecraft only, of course. So if you need someone to mule a whole pile of cocaine, I am both a good choice and a bad choice. I'm a good choice because I won't do the cocaine, because those drugs are disgusting. That comes from having spent many years working in bars where they had dubstep nights, and you'd have the girl with like just Christmas snow caked all over her booger encrusted lips, being like, "What are you doing later? You want to come back to my house?" No. I absolutely do not want to go back to your house. That said, fair warning, I do manage to get stopped a lot by the TSA when I fly. So, although it's been a while, and I understand that threat level honky is not really a big concern for anyone anymore. It's pretty much just let's target our aggression at anyone who doesn't look white enough. And if I slick my hair back and wear a tie, no one's going to mess with me. They're just going to assume that I have some weird facial hair condition that causes the sides to not properly grow in. Right? So I think, I bring a lot to the table. Now, I'm also told that when you do a job interview, you're just as much interviewing the person to see if the job would fit. So since the CIA, you're not actively chatting, which is sort of frustrating, honestly. If the CIA wants to hop into chat, we already had the YouTube Russian bot chat. So, there's promise. It's a good day. But yeah, if CIA decides to pop on and ask me some questions about things like, theoretically, if I wanted to topple a regime, how would I go about doing that? Well, that's interesting. And then I can ask you questions like, do you have dental? Because God knows I fucking need it. I lost another chunk of tooth this week. That was awesome. Through the grand crime of chewing on a hangnail. Yep, that's how broken I am. I was chewing on a hangnail, and a little tiny little chip of a tooth came off because all my teeth are fucked. And I was like, oh, that's gonna be annoying. And then later that day, I was eating pizza, and I took a bite of the pizza. And I was like, that thing where you take a bite and you're like, there is a big chunk of my tooth somewhere in my mouth and I'm not biting down at all. Blah. You spit the food in your hand. This is probably not selling me to the CIA. Suffice to say, if you need someone who can go undercover as a meth head, I'm your guy. I don't do the meth, but I sure do look like it. Man, I hope I get some CIA money. Waiting on the money from anything else just seems like a foolish choice at this point, right? George Soros never calls me back, and I just can't do the conservative thing. I dress kind of like it, but I can't do it. you know, because conservatives, obviously, you know, conservative streamers make a bunch of money from conservative PACs and things like that. Ben Shapiro's getting paid, and I just can't do it. I mean, I could pretend to be him for about, like, you know, 20 minutes, but after that, it's just I want to have a shower and possibly take all my skin off with a razor blade. So that's probably not a thing. Yeah. So that's my CIA audition tape. I hope to hear back. Call me. I'd give you my number, but A, it's the internet and no one needs to know my phone number on the internet, and B, you're the fucking CIA. Like, you don't know how to get in touch with me if you want me. You're probably listening right now to my phone. You're not even watching the stream. You're just hearing it come off my phone. You fucking devils. So, it is the penultimate day of 2021. Tomorrow night, pardon me, hit puberty there. Tomorrow night is Christmas is New Year's Eve, followed by 2022. And one of the things I'm thinking I'll do today is think back about the year of 2021. Not doing like a year in review. I see a lot of people are going through and like looking at their content from the year and shit like that. We're not gonna do that. It's mostly just bad karaoke and me saying things that should probably result in job terminations. And certainly the CIA would not hire me if they heard half the shit that comes out of my mouth. But maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the secret. The other reason I dressed up is because I took inspiration from Caleb Maupin and the army of schleebs that dwell on his every word. Jordan Hinkle, something Hinkle. I saw a debate with this kid, and immediately he was debating with Dylan Burns, and I was like, I hate everything about this, because it's one of those debates where you go, oh, hey, is the sky blue? And the other person goes, well, the sky's, you're a liar. That's not a debate. That's just being a whiny prick. And that's exactly what I thought. Jordan Hinkle, Justin Hinkle, I don't know, something Hinkle. But they always gussy up real fine when they do their streams and look all pretty, at least from what I've seen. So I'm like, maybe I could woo some of the Twitch ladies when they look in that just chatting group and be like, ooh, that's a fella in a suit. Surely he's got some either ridiculously conservative or shitty tanky points to make. Psych, I do not. I am just a crappy little socialist. I don't believe in tanks being a good thing. I'm not well versed in the lore of Marx. I don't care about some of it. I'm an atheist, but not because Carl told me to. I'm an atheist because Jesus told me to. It's one of those things. Anyways, how's everyone doing? I see there's a couple of people in chat. I think Bangers, that's my boy Bry. How you doing? It's a long time since I've seen you, my friend. And we've got Deviled Eggy. I hope you're well. I haven't seen you in a bunch of time. And then a bunch of accounts, some of which look familiar. Oh, She Loves Puns. I remember you joining the other day. It's good to have you back. Thank you very much. I hope I'm not disturbing you with my incredibly Caleb Maupin appearance today. I assure you I will not be talking about how awesome China is. And yeah, just a few good souls hanging out. It's always a pleasure. I hope you guys are doing well. I know I'm doing well. Had a good day. I work from home, and I try to work as many hours as I can. Not because I'm a workaholic, but because it's important that I get paid. I'm a single dad. Single dads need money. And so I work as much as I can. And when, so holiday time comes, I've found ways to convince the clients that I work for that it's worth paying me to do stuff. So I keep trying. And in this case today, I kind of finished up all the stuff I needed to do this year. And so I slowed my pace a little bit. And then I was like, yeah, I'm not fooling anybody. And I stopped what I was doing and called it a day. And just basically had a lazy day, which worked out really nicely because I also get the shitty super headaches from Calgary weather changes. And I got one of those. It was fucking horrible, and so I took pills and went and had a nap, and that helps. Banger Bry, yep, better headspace than last time I saw you, pal. Well, that's good, man. Last time I saw you was a bit of a dark time for you, and I remember giving you a big hug and telling you I love you, and I that sentiment continues, my friend. I hope you're doing all right. I can't sit like this, so I'm gonna disrobe while we talk. Don't worry, it won't be sexy. But yeah, now that my CIA audition is complete, I can stop looking like a schmuck. By the way, this is actually, a properly tied tie because I'm a grown-up. And grown-up, men and women should know how to tie a fucking tie. And if you don't, I don't care. It's like, that's just me being a dink. Wear what you want to wear. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, it was a good day. Other than the headache, it was a fine day. I mostly just took it easy, watched some of the Netflix content stuff, other things, and then now I'm here. Let's see if I can even fix up my hair a little bit, because that's it's gonna be a nightmare no matter what. But we'll go with it. Now I look like I'm really trying to be like a 1980s oi punk. Oi. So one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to watch this video with you guys. Someone who is remarkably rich and totally self-absorbed decided that they would make this video and felt like this was actually a thing that they should do and that no possible badness could come from it. So I'm going to mock them, because it's a terrible, terrible, terrible fucking video. And I saw Hassan mocking it a little bit on his stream. I'm going to mock it in a different way. We're going with different directional mockage. So if you are familiar, then it's a different perspective. But today we're going to do that. And we're going to start that pretty quick here. Let's see. Where's my tabby thingy? Fuck, where's all my stuff? God. I need to have 86 different monitors, and I have not 86 different monitors. Okay, we're getting there. And if I push that button, there we go. All right, and press play. The video is called "Millionaire Goes Homeless to Prove Anyone Can Make $1 Million." So already I hate this person. I've never met them, but the smug, just the idea that you can be a millionaire and go homeless and do it in a way that you can like lecture other people on how to still be amazing business chud while being homeless. Like, this is just, it's so fucking angering. So here we're going. We're going to watch this.
Today's been really tough. This is my bench right here. Gonna be sleeping on tonight, so.
This is Mike Black, the millionaire who went homeless, with the goal to make $1 million from nothing in only 12 months, while documenting the entire journey online for everyone to see.
I'm cutting off my entire network. I'm draining my bank account to $0. I'm leaving behind my 7-figure business, putting all my belongings in storage, and I won't even have a place to live.
This is the $1 million comeback.
Did you know the project is...
Okay, so just as we start, I'm going to point out, this is something that Hassan said as well, so I'm not, this is not original content here. But draining your bank account to $0, awesome. Except that most people who are homeless don't have a 0 bank account. They have a whole bunch of negative bank account. It's not that they have like, okay, well, I'm at 0. The world has crushed them. And whether through, credit problems, through, just everything getting fucked up. It's not that they're at 0. They're way past 0. But let's just give them the benefit of the doubt.
It's gonna be like this.
No, everything was a curveball. This is my one pair of clothes that I'm taking with me. I have a cell phone and I have a backpack with camera gear. The keys are officially turned in. The project has started. Now I gotta figure out what the to do.
What Mike didn't know at the time was that this was going to be the toughest year of his life. But why did he decide to do it?
I'm gonna try to panhandle and make a couple bucks. I'm not worried about food at all. I can go a couple days without eating. Hey, how are you? I was wondering, do you have any like water cups by any chance? Finally, someone nice enough to give me some water.
See, it was the beginning of 2020 and countless people had lost everything. And he wanted to be a living example that you can make a comeback even at your lowest point. But could he really?
Okay, I get the sentiment. I'm being hostile and uncool when it comes to, like, I get where he's coming from, and I think it's important that I just take a moment and give credit where credit's due. It's really, really minimal credit, though. What this is a video ultimately about someone rich who has no idea what they have and who they are and all this other shit. So, you know, his thought of like anyone can make $1 million sounds really inspirational, but this is not real, and it's so obvious that this is not real.
Really reach $1 million in 12 months again?
Everything I tried didn't work. I did have someone message me on Craigslist that said they'll give me $100 if I let them.
I started thinking, like, I'm going to be sleeping on the streets a lot longer than I thought. I don't know if I can do this. All right, so it's 11 o'clock. Didn't make any money. My bench right here that I'm going to be sleeping on tonight, so.
But there was no going back now. He had publicly committed all over social media, hired an entire production team, and this was about something bigger than just himself.
The goal of the project was to help as many people as possible.
So giving up was never an option. But
the thing about it is that I believe that was the goal, was to help people. The only people this helps is wine moms.
took a turn.
Something amazing happened. Out of nowhere, like, this kid hit me up and said, like, hey man, you can crash here. Offered to drive 30 minutes to pick me up.
What a heroic journey of homelessness. I mean, that was almost, maybe 12 hours of being homeless and you know, living rough on the street. But, you know, fortunately, someone just out of the blue was like, hey, why don't you sleep at my house? As typically happens with homeless people. They're only homeless because they don't answer the phone when people call and be like, hey, come live with me forever.
I'm just really emotional how nice of an act this was. I promise you I will repay you for all of this.
Okay, thank you. I mean, you don't have to, but...
Just thank you so much.
Of course.
This is the RV that I slept in last night.
Now this was a short window of opportunity to get back on his feet.
I still have one...
A short window of opportunity to get back on his feet. I'm just saying, maybe that's not really like being homeless, where 12 hours after your world collapses, someone just gives you an RV to sleep in for a while. No.
One pair of clothes. Look how gross this is. Now I get to put these boxers back on.
So he had to make some money, but this time he had a plan.
What I started doing is just taking ads on Craigslist in the free section, putting it on Facebook Marketplace, and selling it for a profit. I acted as the middleman, handling all the logistics between the buyer and the seller.
And it worked.
I just sold my first couch for $100.
Although this was literally only 0.01% towards the final goal, with that he was finally able to buy some clothes, some decent food after not eating for days, and most importantly, deodorant.
It's alright.
On day 3,
again, like, you know, yeah, homeless people have cell phones. They have access to the internet. Like, it's not an unreasonable thing to say that a homeless person could do this. But it's also like the role that he's promoting here, the guy who buys and sells or essentially acts as an intermediary on Facebook Marketplace. That's not really a guaranteed gig. That's like, you might get lucky and make a few dollars off of something. It is probably not going to make you $1 million. He made $100 on a couch. What that means is he just interjected himself in an otherwise fine sale and took $100 off of it. He's like a landlord. But fine. Obviously, like, if a homeless person was doing this, I wouldn't be like, no, that's morally reprehensible. You're a landlord now. But this isn't the kind of, you know, like, again, he's not at rock bottom. He's not dealing with mental health issues. He's not dealing with like long-term systemic poverty. He doesn't have people out looking for him for his money. He doesn't have a drug addiction. He doesn't have, like, you know, he's literally just a guy with college education, presumably, who has a background in some kind of business type of work, going, I can make this work. That ain't the fucking same thing.
He made a whopping $250 flipping more couches.
Hey Mike, what do you got there? That's a nice computer. Yeah, that's just a brand new used Chromebook. I'm gonna take that.
Oh, it's just not working.
But Mike had to figure out how to get his own place, because Isaac, the guy who helped him on day one and now lived with in the RV, still had no idea about the project and who Mike really was, because he was going under
Bullshit. The shit of the bulls.
cover as Scott, so he wouldn't get any extra help. If Isaac found out, Mike would have to cut off contact, which is one of the many rules he set up for the project, and then he'd be back on the streets again. So he had to get more Benjamins into his bank account.
I applied to 10 different jobs in one night, and the next day I woke up and I had 3 interviews.
So he spent the last $40 he had to join a co-working space where he could use much better computers and start trading time for money, even if that means working as a telemarketer for only $10 an hour.
How much do you want to bet that if he was a homeless person who was disheveled and perhaps, you know, hadn't had a shower that day, how much do you want to bet those job interviews may not have been quite so awesome for him? They might have been, you know, very, very crap. Also, how the fuck do you get job interviews if you don't have a home address? Maybe the world is different than what I'm used to, but like homeless shelters, for example, in Calgary, would let people use the address of the homeless shelter as a place to claim as their home so that they could apply for jobs and things. And what ends up happening is that the people who do the hiring for those jobs just know those addresses and go, oh, skip. Because it's not about, like, this is just such crap. If he's living in an RV with another guy who clearly has no idea who he is, then how is this working? Maybe the internet changed things, and I don't, because I don't hand out resumes. I'm at a level of career where I don't have to do that, so I'm just as ignorant. But I feel like this is kind of sketchy.
$25 an hour working for a law firm as a virtual assistant. So I went over to Isaac and I was like, hey, would you be cool with lending me your car and I'll do food delivery?
And again, sorry, just interjecting again. He's talking about, like, yeah, I got a gig making, like, you know, sweet fuck all an hour for a law firm as their you know, assistant kind of thing. But if you don't, you know, come from his background and you don't sound like someone who they want to work with, you're not going to get that job. Right? That is a job specifically for people who look like me, people who look like him. If you don't look like us, you're probably not going to get that job.
I'll give you the majority of everything I make.
Best delivery driver ever.
You heard it. Dude, I could flip this bike, by the way. It sells for like $300, $400. Flipping. Just left the thrift store. Got all these shirts. You looking for a sugar daddy? Hit me up. $220.
Where did he get a bike? Did I miss that?
I was like, hey, would you be cool with lending me your car and I'll do food delivery?
Okay.
I'll give you the majority of everything I make.
Best delivery driver ever.
You heard it. Dude, I could flip this bike, by the way. It sells for like $300, $400. Flipping. Just left the thrift store. Got all these shirts. You looking for a sugar daddy? Hit me up. $220.
But still, with all this work, he was barely getting by.
For the first time, my bank actually overdrew. I was not expecting this to take this long for me to get out of this situation.
Until things got...
And let me guess, when your bank overdrew because you're a fucking millionaire, it wasn't tacking on more and more charges. Like daily charges for having an overdrawn account access, you know, $5 a day every single fucking day because you're in the hole. I bet that wasn't the deal you had with the bank, was it, buddy?
But even worse.
We didn't put this in the footage, but the RV had gotten a cockroach infestation. It was really bad. Imagine trying to sleep in a place where there's cockroaches everywhere. You imagine them crawling on you. Well, one night I looked at my arm, there's a cockroach, just swiped it off, and I sat up. I'm done. I will not live here another week.
He just had to get...
As most homeless people experience, you know, you're homeless, but it's, you know, it's a sterile and clean environment, and you don't have to, like, you know, be degraded by the fact that there are bugs in your space. That's just very real. Very, very real. Ooh, this guy looks like he wants to tell us important things.
One client for some service that would pay him a few grand.
I literally just spent all weekend. I sent so many sales proposals.
Until he finally got someone to pay him for money.
Sales proposals. So I'm just spitballing here, but maybe that means that he's got some kind of a background in like a sales capacity or something where he doesn't just come across as some random person going, hey, I will do a thing for you. It sounds to me like what we're dealing with here is a guy who actually has business experience, who is putting together sales pitches, who probably knows who to reach out to, and certainly understands better than most of the process for doing that. Yeah, this isn't Sigma grind set hustle. This is not understanding who you are and what you bring to the table, you fucking millionaire douche.
Monthly marketing services.
$1,500. Dopamine just blasting through my head. I have money now.
So he was able to move out of the RV into a small shared room. And to come full circle, now he could finally repay Isaac by helping him sell the RV for $2,000 more than he expected.
I bought a MacBook for him as a thank you present, paid for by my business. I was gonna pay for 2 flights to Germany because he really wanted to go to Germany. Just thank him for everything, and then he just stopped responding to my texts.
Who knows, maybe he reaches out now if he sees the video.
I want those Germany tickets.
But in order to eventually reach the $1 million milestone, he had to build a real business. Ideally a scalable one, like an e-commerce company.
I am at the farmer's market here. I'm looking for people.
If there's one thing I know about the homeless, it is that they are really, really well set up to build a scalable service-based industry that they can run out of their home that they don't have.
People that are selling product I can maybe partner with and sell online.
And after making some connections with a manufacturer and looking at trends, he decided on a very specific niche, a coffee brand for dog lovers that donates a percentage of profits to saving dogs. But what got in the way was the fact that he had to document everything.
I was spending it 40 to 60 hours a week on production and marketing and running the production team alone while I was homeless in the beginning of the project. I remember being in meetings with the guys and I'd be like, I haven't eaten today. I don't have money to get back to the RV park. I got to get out of this meeting and you guys have to figure it out, because if I don't flip a couch today, I have to sleep at the office.
We need to shoot quick overview. We need to shoot how to. Our animator overseas just quit.
You're spending 25 grand a month on production?
25,000.
This is exactly what the homeless experience is. It's so frustrating to have, you know, like your overseas animator just quit on your corporation that you're implementing, because you have all of the appropriate contacts to be able to set this up. And this is totally real and totally not utter fucking horse shit.
$1,000 burned per month on producing the project and marketing it.
Paying for it out of his own pockets.
I only spent 1 hour on my business. This has been a consistent theme. I'm not gonna be able to build $1 million business like that.
Paying for it out of his, is he still flipping couches or working for $10 an hour to afford 25 grand a month? Like, what pocket is this being paid out of? Because that doesn't, the math is hard. I get it, math is hard, but this math is really hard.
How much money have you made so far?
It's underwhelming.
You're making less than minimum wage. You feel like a failure.
I can't be working all these hours. I need to build my business.
Do you feel the pressure of having people look at you, of potentially failing in public? Does that keep you up at night?
I'm so tired. I just got word the client decided to, I guess, fire us.
He had to get really strategic with his time
guy.
and money. Either cut expenses to invest more into launching the e-commerce business, or invest money to save more time, for example by hiring freelancers.
So I'm still working on the homepage, sir.
Jay, you logged 2.5 hours. You said you're gonna log a full day today, dude. We need to get this site up. Oh, God, I've never gotten that pissed.
It's starting to get to the point where I'm like, my over my head.
I've never gotten that pissed. I'm homeless, but I've never been more angry than the time when the guy who I'm getting to freelance design a website for me only cracked out 2.5 hours. Jerry, you lazy fuck, I will murder your family.
Being able to hit this goal, I don't feel like I'm far enough.
But out of desperation, Mike came up with a brilliant idea. They would not just cut his biggest expense, but might actually make him money.
I am finding a location. Let's say it's $4,000 a month to rent. I'm gonna rent out 4 of the bedrooms for $1,000 a month, so it pays for the place, and then that 5th bedroom I would get for free. That is what I call.
So this is, rent hacking, as the kids all say. This is actually called being a fucking shithead. Now, again, if a person who didn't have a home was able to do this and take themselves off the street as a means of, or as an end result of doing, like running this kind of a scam, because scam it is, when you've got a 5-bedroom place, he's going to rent out 4 bedrooms, and essentially everyone unknowingly is paying for him to have the 5th bedroom. Generally speaking, people don't like that. When they find out, they get angry. But, that is, at least it's, it's a thing that you can do. And I wouldn't be like, oh, that homeless person should stay homeless as a instead of doing this sort of predatory home rental thing. But this is not a real thing. He can't walk in to Okay. You're a landlord. You're renting a place. Some random guy calls you up, says, hey, I want to rent this place, me and a bunch of my friends. And you go, okay, well, I'd like to meet you and your friends. And he goes, well, it's going to be me. I'll handle all the stuff. Okay. So what do you do for work? Well, I make about $1,000 a month, or whatever the bullshit number, that $2,000 a month, in this telemarketing type role. And I have an e-commerce business, but it's not really, it's just costing me money right now. You don't rent to this man. That's not even a thing that could happen, because no landlord is going to go, hey, this person whose name is on the lease and is the sole source of my ability to go after people for non-payment of rent brings in fuck all. As a former landlord, no way. Yes, absolutely. Like, this is just, I no offense, she loves puns, I hate landlords. I recognize the need for landlords. I have a landlord, but landlords are they're cagey enough. They're going to be like, so you don't have enough money to cover the rent, but I'm supposed to trust you? I wonder if the difference is that instead of being a homeless person who looks like a homeless person, he is in fact a millionaire who has millionaire contacts and can do millionaire things. I wonder if there's some chicanery afoot.
Called rent hacking. This is a 4-story place. This is gonna be my room, walk-in closet here. This would be my bathroom. I'd be going from RV park to this. 3 months.
And literally, like I would stick fight this guy for doing this. Like if I knew him in real life, if one of my friends rented some glorious place and like picked out this incredible set of like, these are my rooms, this is my bedroom and all that stuff, and then they were getting it paid for by other people, I would drag them out behind the building and beat them to fucking death in Minecraft.
Then, wow, this place is big.
Hey, Bender, how you doing, buddy?
Setting up this house specifically for like-minded business owners. And because his fake identity, Scott, doesn't have a good credit score, he just found someone to co-sign it.
What do you think is like a fair percentage of profit to do for you?
Wait.
Big.
He makes it valuable by setting up this house specifically for like-minded business owners. And because his fake identity, Scott, doesn't have a good credit score, he just found someone to co-sign it.
What do you think's like a fair...
Just found someone to co-sign it. You know, I was walking down the street, minding my own business, whistling a tune, tripped, and landed on a guy who was willing to co-sign an extremely expensive place. What luck. What luck. This is such fucking crap. This is such crap.
percentage of profit to do for you doing
Fuck
like
back
the
to Rich.
credit
Catch
partner
y'all
stuff.
year in review. I love you,
got
Bender. Take
the
care, my
official
friend.
lease. How cool is it that I went from living in an RV to this place, rent-free, plus I would make money.
And also, the coffee brand was finally ready to launch.
Where is he getting all of like the beanbag chair and the cool shit that he's
How cool
enjoying
is
here?
it that I went
Where
from
did the
living in an
furniture come
RV
from?
to this place, rent-free, plus I would make money.
And also, the coffee brand was finally ready to launch.
Oh, we're in business. We got coffee, baby. We got our first coffee order ever. This time, 4 months ago, guys, I was thinking about sleeping on a bench. If you're like, I hate my job, I fucking can't stand my fucking job, quit. Save up some money, downsize, quit. Figure out what you want to do.
And with roughly 9 months left, maybe it was still possible to reach the $1 million milestone.
There's a lot of people that have built a company in 9 months.
I haven't seen the end of this. I kind of got sick and turned it off before the idea of doing this occurred to me. I'm just gonna place a bet. I'm gonna say he well surpasses like instead of $1 million, he makes $2 million or some ridiculous shit like that. It's got to be that way.
I've gotten it to $1 million. I'm healthy, my family's healthy. That's all that matters. On Tuesday, I learned that my dad was officially diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer.
Yeah, it's in my lungs,
Okay, I'm
my liver.
not gonna
My
laugh.
dad is the single most important person to me in my life.
It would be wrong to laugh, but the sheer irony of like, at least I've got my health and my family has their health. Dun dun dun. Like, it's not funny, and his father doesn't deserve that. But there's a little bit of a dark humor there.
Typical survival rate for that is 14%. What I was told was like 12 to 18 months.
Believe it or not, yes, it could be better, but also be much worse. To me, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I'll fight, Michael. The fight begins. Don't get upset.
And here we see where Mike got his unwavering optimism. From his dad. He gets a terminal diagnosis and still considers himself to be the luckiest man in the world. After months of struggling, overcoming homelessness, working 100-hour weeks to run an entire production team, and trying to make $1 million at the same time, now this happened. This was real life now. Mike had a decision to make. Continue the project or quit.
Some things are going to change because I'm going to be moving home to spend time with my dad. We're going to figure it out, you know? This is what happens in life.
It was like life was testing Mike, whether you could actually be a leader, live by the message of the project, and overcome this adversity.
You get dealt cards, you have to play the hand that you're dealt.
His dad wanted him to continue because now this was actually about more than just making $1 million. It was about living by the values his dad taught him, making the best out of every situation, even in times of struggle, and it lit a fire inside of him.
And I wrote it down. I wanted 20,000 DMs, people reaching out saying, you impacted my life in a positive way. That's all I wanted.
So could he still reach?
Like, what an empty and vacuous thing. Like, your dad gets sick, and it obviously legitimately threw him, and he's like, you know what I need to do? I need to go to TikTok, and I need to go to Facebook, and I need to share this message and be like, hey, lift me up, people. Fuck, dude.
Reach the $1 million goal now that things got even more challenging.
And I want to make that very, very clear. Like, I don't think I was going to hit it.
But they had a pretty good plan. Coffee is one of these consumables that people buy again and again if they love your brand. So setting up a monthly subscription would be a game changer. And if they could acquire new customers to try out their products, they might become long-term repeat buyers.
Smile, dance. We put up our first TikTok, and TikTok.
Again, he's not doing anything. Someone else is making the coffee, someone else is grinding the coffee, someone else is producing the coffee. all he's doing is buying and selling. Again, that's not the end of the world. Like, there's plenty of that in the world. They put stickers on it. That's the sticker thing. But like, really, is that the world we live in? I think it probably is. I think I'm out of touch.
TikTok went semi-viral. Almost 3,200 followers.
Holy shit.
What?
I think we got our first coffee club subscription. While I was driving, Etsy order, $34,221. Our ad account got disabled. This is what I do when I'm angry. So I made a list of things I'm grateful for. The first is Mark Zuckerberg. I'm grateful for big tech. So now I feel better.
Things now started moving faster, but that also created more problems. Mike was still juggling way.
I am thankful for Mark Zuckerberg. I am thankful for big tech. He should be. I mean, like, legitimately, I'm thankful for all of the things that have made my career work, and I work in IT, not doing this, but, you know, I'd be a complete hypocrite if I was, like, pretending like I didn't, you know, get that to a certain degree, but, like, I made a list of all the things I'm thankful for. He didn't mention his father. He didn't mention being a millionaire. It was, God bless a world with the Zuck in it.
Way too many things, spending only 5 hours a week on the e-commerce company, trying to squeeze in family time, making content.
Yeah, exactly, Bri. I wonder how shit like this makes people who have overcome homelessness feel. Like, this to me it's crass. It is all kinds of fucking crass. I just looked at my other chat, and I see that on the Facebooks, I'm just having like a series of people trying to, Russian bots trying to drop some sweet fucking links. So if you want to see what porn is in Russia, I'm imagining that's the way to go. But yeah, sorry, got distracted. This was my point. Like, this is not homelessness. At no point was this homelessness. Even if he had slept on the streets on his little bench that he had found, he's not starting from the same spot that a homeless person is starting from. He has this wealth of experience. He has this level set of, even though he doesn't have any money, he's not like a broken person living a broken life at that exact moment. And I'm not, like, don't take that the wrong way. I'm not like, all the homeless are terrible people. I don't mean that in the least. But I'm the myth of the, Jerry's homeless because he wants to be, is mostly a myth, right? I just feel like this guy is someone who is so brutally unaware of his own privilege and legitimately feels like somehow he's managed to do, and this doesn't even add up, right? I mean, like, he got the free RV to stay in, which does not happen. Someone he convinced to let him use his vehicle for deliveries. He was able to be clean enough to get job interviews and move in business space, or take over some business space that he was able to leverage. He was able to, this hacking landlord shit that he did, like, and none of this made any sense. And he's paying $25,000 a month for a product development team when he's not making $25,000 a month. So, like, there's some bullshit there. This is just so far from real. You've been close and it pisses me off. I've been close and it pisses me off, Bri. I've never been, I wouldn't say I've been close to homeless. I've been, I guess you would say, close to homeless. I have been in that spot where, like, I felt like I could make it, but things were really fucking dodgy and really fucking tight. And I've definitely been poor my whole life. And realistically, right now I'm close to homeless, in the sense that if my company tomorrow was to say, you know what, Jim, thanks, but no thanks. And I couldn't find a job quick enough. Like, I don't have savings. I don't have anything. And if that happened, I would be homeless. And that's been the specter over my entire life for the duration of my adult life. I deal well with it, but I certainly, I believe I will be okay. But that is a legitimate fear. actual homelessness and the people who are, you know, like struggling just to keep the roof over the head and everything. Like that's one step below where I've been. And I that's a huge step. This guy is so far from that. And that is how the system is held up by the rich get the free handouts and move up easily. Absolutely. Not only like this is entirely a capitalism, right? This guy faux pretends to be a homeless person, and manages to turn it into a for-profit industry because some people just can't help but fall upwards because capitalism is right there, the invisible hand to guide them to the next wonderful thing. Most of us don't have that, right? I feel confident that if I did lose my job tomorrow, I can find another job because of the experience and all of that stuff that I have in my field. But that could just as easily be wrong. I could just as easily, if I lost my job, be in real trouble with my children who I feed and my ex-wife who I pay for and blah, 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 blah. All of that shit. And the system isn't, like, it's not there for us unless we have this kind of privilege.
To document the $1 million comeback and researching cancer to help his dad. So far, he had spent $250,000 on producing the project, and the channel still hadn't taken off. His goal to impact 20,000 people seemed impossible.
How? Where did this $250,000 come from that he just made to pay for this production of this channel?
With only a few hundred views per video.
So that was like a layer of stress. Kept having to get the team pumped up. Like, guys, we'll get these views eventually.
Until his own health started declining as well.
Throughout the entire project, we haven't shared it with you, but I've been in and out of the doctor's office. I actually have 2 autoimmune diseases. Even started developing a tumor on my hip. It's gotten to the point where I'm in pain every single day.
Health, wealth, relationships, everything in my life is at the lowest point.
I want to talk about the project real quick. I don't know if I should keep doing it.
But this is exactly the thing. You can stop. I'm not saying you should stop. I'm saying you have that luxury. That's not homelessness where you can go, you know what? I'm embarrassed, and now I will go back to being a millionaire.
I really should be helping out my dad with his business. My dad leaves the business is totally done.
Should he end the project now? He was still far from hitting the $1 million goal and having a big impact. But then he got a message from a stranger that changed everything.
There was a guy towards the end of the project. He reached out. I need to get on a call with you. Gets on the call and he literally just starts crying. And he's like, dude, I was going to kill myself. I came across your content. It just gave me hope. That was the best feeling I've ever felt in my entire life.
If he ended it now with only $65,000 made and one person he deeply impacted, would the project be a failure or a success?
I wanted to help.
Cop out. Hey, you made 65 grand and you're a complete schmuck, but you inspired somebody, and that's what counts. I inspire people all the time. I am heck inspirational. So that means that, you know, any claims of making millions of dollars I make are, you know, they're cool.
People that were struggling get back on their feet and prove that it could be done. A lot of things about this situation suck, but I'm in control of how I see things.
Throughout all of this, no matter how hard life hit him, he made the best of everything and lived by the message he truly believed. That's what true leaders do. So he decided to end the project early to focus on fixing his own health and spending more time with his dad.
And now he's doing a lot better and things are going really, really well.
And who knows, maybe now, with this video, Mike is able to impact 20,000 people.
Okay. So what can we take away from all of this? Well, I have some thoughts. This is the kind of content that actually really just makes me angry because it is so far from the point, and it is so like genuinely harmful to prescribe to people as like this is a message of hope for you, because it's for wine moms. I'm not saying like there's nothing wrong with wine moms. Don't take that the wrong way. But this is not real. This message that he's sharing isn't real. He couldn't do it. Frankly, the idea that his little online coffee company was going to, in the next, what was it, 3 months that he had left or whatever, was going to bring in like $950,000 in profit, probably unrealistic. But again, even if it did, this is not homelessness. This is not how the homeless be. This isn't how homeless people experience the world. This is crap. This is some fantasy story that someone wrote. The whole time he had a get out of jail free card. The whole time he had surprising opportunities that are not typically provided to homeless people. You want to make a real fucking video like this, make it so that the person doesn't have the option. Make it so that the person doesn't have an out. Make it so that the person has no choice but to live on the actual really real streets and not in some kindly souls fucking caravan. Make it so that that person can't just somehow find someone to co-sign a apartment for them. That's just that part was such bullshit. Oh, my guy didn't have my fake ID didn't have any credit, so I just found a random person, was like, hey, want to co-sign a gigantically expensive home for me so that I can landlord hack my friends? This isn't real. This is like a tribute to privilege, and lovely. I'm glad that there's privilege in the world. I wish that it extended to everybody, but let's not fucking pretend like this guy did a thing that was noteworthy. Let's not pretend like this guy experienced homelessness. Like I said, I have always lived fairly close to the bone. I had a pee before things started. In my house, if I want to have a pee and I'm upstairs, I need a flashlight. Why? Because the electrical in my bathroom does not work. It works. I bought light bulbs for it when I moved in, turned them on. The next day they were dead. This is because that's how my house is. I live in a shitty house, but it is super cheap, and I have 3 bands that jam in the basement. 4 bands that jam in the basement, none of whom pay for it. It's just a thing that I can do to support my own interests and some friends of mine. That 4th band I'm not even in. My house is dilapidated, but it works. It does the job. I am wearing no sleeves, and it's fuck off cold out. That means that I have heat. You can tell that I have light. I have electricity. I have internet access. I'm a huge leap ahead of so many other people who are still not even homeless. To assume that you could just like be homeless and experience the genuine terrible horror of homelessness and be like, yeah, maybe I'll stop doing this. Maybe I'll just, the project didn't go the way I wanted it to. My dad got the cancer. I could probably, I got this weird lump on my side. Just gonna quit being homeless and go back to being a millionaire now. That's so not real. So yeah, Banger Bri, like this is why I wanted to do this, is because I actually found this insulting. I found it incredibly faulty, and just like it was an asshole thing. All right, so I'm gonna take a quick 5 to 7 minute break. When I come back, if you guys want, we can chat about some stuff. My Discord's open if anyone wants to hop in and just gab about stuff. Or if no one has anything else to do, I was thinking maybe I'd look back at the wild year of 2021 and think about some of the better shit that happened, because it's real easy to focus on some of the shitty shit that happened, because there's a lot of it, but there was some cool stuff too. So maybe we can have that conversation, and if not, then maybe I'll just stop streaming for the night. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, I will return. Do you want me to put on music? I'll put on music. I gotta load my thing. Or I can just no, that sounds terrible. I'll just play some of my genuinely awful muzak that I create every now and then. We'll play Run to You, the Bryan Adams cover song that should never have been made. Where is it? There it is. I actually called it Run to Use, like the sheep. All right. Is that coming through? Yes, it's coming through. Okay. No more of that terrible, terrible music. So yeah, I return. Did y'all miss me? Did I take the thing off my face? I didn't take the thing off my face. Let me take the thing off my face, because that's not in my face anymore. Yeah. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm kind of a little salty still about that video. I'm not gonna lie. That actually like genuinely irritated me. There's a solution. This is Alberta Genuine Draft. It's terrible beer, but it's still beer, and you know, it's technically it's my Friday. Those are those sayings that annoy the piss out of me. You know, it's my Friday, and you know, that kind of all of the workaday stuff that people say. Well, it's my Friday, so you know, I can have a drink or two. I have a drink whenever I goddamn feel like. COVID has made that way worse. Just facts. Life in a pandemic has definitely involved me increasing my consumption of alcohol. I used to go out to bars and go to gigs, and now I stay at home and drink. It's not entirely true. I'm not like, I don't get drunk. That's a thing that I don't generally enjoy doing. Mostly if I'm gonna have a beer, like I'll have a beer, or you know, maybe a couple of beers. But you know, I used to live with a guy who would buy a case of beer like every day or two, and I was like, dude, that's probably not some good life choices. You might wanna not do that. But whatever, you know, however we all get through. This is the thing about, especially about the pandemic, that you know, we're all looking at you know, a lot of people are drinking more, a lot of people are smoking more weed, are doing a bunch of stuff, you know, in excess, even playing on the Facebooks or whatever. You know, we're all just nursing our pain. We're all trying to find a way to get through all of the ridiculousness that we're dealing with right now, and it's temporary. I keep saying that this is a temporary setback in an otherwise entirely cool experience, and hopefully, you know, hopefully in 2022 things will improve. 2021 was not awesome as a result, but there were some cool moments. There was some good stuff in the news. I was really happy to see like the trials of Ahmaud Arbery, or not his trial, but his killer's trial. George Floyd, recently, Ghislaine Maxwell. It's nice to see a little bit of justice. It's not a lot of justice, but you know, it's something. At least it's something. I saw a great meme today that was a picture of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein sitting on a cabin porch, and it says, "I guess it's true that sometimes partners really do finish each other's sentences." Made me giggle. That was specifically for She Loves Puns, because that's a good pun. That trial did not in any way well, that's not true. It surprised me that she was found guilty. I was expecting them to really, really lean in on the idea that you know, she was the victim of the terrible Jeffrey Epstein, and you know, they would find her blameless and like the unwitting pawn in his terrible game. But what I knew wouldn't happen is no new surprises when it came to, you know, who the client list were. The ones that we knew about, they mentioned those. They mentioned Prince Andrew. They mentioned Donald Trump. They mentioned you know, Bill Gates. But all the millions of fucking dollars that went into that man's pockets from all over the wealthy and highly powerful. Somehow we didn't hear a whole lot about that. Kitty Jerkface. I was not at all surprised. Get thee to the prison, wench. Yeah, no, 100%. I want for Ghislaine Maxwell to spend a very long life in a very ugly jail. I don't want her to be hurt. I'm not a fan of that. But I want her to suffer for the decisions that she made and the things that she did. And I want there to be comeuppance. That's just facts. Heard she's going to go work for CNN with their stable of sex offenders. Hey, that's not fair. It could just as easily be Fox News. It all depends on whether she feels lefty or righty. And I don't know what her personal politics are. It's hard to tell by the company she keeps. She's certainly a rich person. Is she a neocon or a neo-lib? Either way, she's establishment. Hopefully she doesn't get Epstein. I don't see that happening. I feel very strongly like there were conversations, and those conversations were like Ghislaine Maxwell getting asked by people, so what's your plan for your defense? And her saying, not to mention your name. I do believe in the idea that Epstein did not kill himself. Can I prove it with a slide rule? Probably not. It's probably not my job to prove it. But I don't believe in any way that that he did the deed. And I just really think that because if you think about the situation, Epstein would have probably had to talk about a lot of the people involved, and then he killed himself, and they had a whole different defense available all of a sudden. That defense of like, oh, I was the unwitting pawn, which is exactly what they did, and claiming that they're trying to punish Epstein through her kind of a spiel. They didn't need to go down that road. I guess I should say I want her to rat people out and she doesn't get stopped from doing so. Yes, I would fucking love. I would love for the truth to come out. And I would love for that to be very well publicized and very well talked about. The QAnon freaks with all of the foaming at the mouth about saving our children and everything, like they don't want to hear that their homie Don is a part of that. Although they're starting to cut ties with him, which is also adorable. Another highlight of 2021, when Donald Trump goes on interviews with Candace Owens and is like, take the vaccine, and because he has to. This is a massive credit to him in the way that he's marketed himself. He absolutely has to. Oh, hey, another fake account spamming in the YouTube. YouTube's doing great tonight. We've got several of these. My good close personal friend Eokg Uigud wants us to all know that sister19lol.online. So I feel like that might not be something worth clicking, but maybe it is. Maybe it's like a free Russian download of the great movie Sister Act. I heard a theory they were both intelligence operatives. I don't know if they were intelligence operatives, but I will tell you this much. The opinion that I have, and it is nothing more than the opinion of an old man, the opinion that I have is that the two of them were just really smart. They knew they could tap into a very dark and ugly side of some very wealthy people, and they also knew that they could use that to their advantage. I don't think this was an intelligence operative thing. I think this was more just that they knew the game and they knew who they were playing with. Yes, Kitty, I'm sorry that you're alone in there. It's I'm just that small a streamer that the YouTube is just you and a handful of Russian bots. Ultimately, If they are an intelligence thing, I'll find out, because at the start of this, I did my job interview for the CIA, and surely they will hook me up with some incredible, job skills and also knowledge of all of their dark and sinister operations. At the end of the day, I find the idea that Epstein was anything more than just a clever scoundrel who had the right connections to get leverage over the wealthy and the powerful. Anything more than that, I just don't see the need for. That said, who the fuck am I? I don't know the answer to these questions. But one way or the other, I want the truth to come out. I want not just to hear that Prince Andrew was a piece of shit, because we all know Prince Andrew's a piece of shit. And we know Donald Trump wasn't sneakily trying to infiltrate the Democrat cabal of adrenochrome people. He was fucking children. And this should come as no surprise based on everything that man has ever said. I just don't understand. I want to see the piss tape too. Come on, it's been long enough. Let's see the piss tape. Not that I want to see the piss tape, like from a sexual gratification perspective. I just want to be able to look at it and be like, yep. You know the difference between a almond and a chickpea. Donald Trump doesn't pay money to have an almond on his face. Yeah, I want to know. I'm really stoked about Ghislaine Maxwell getting the heave-ho. I'm stoked about the potential for change in the United States. This is a thing that I'm probably going to talk about a little bit on Saturday when I do my year-in preview, where essentially what I'm going to do on Saturday is I'm going to talk about our current situation and what I dream could happen in the next 365 days. And I will be wrong, and I will be completely dumb, but it will be an uplifting and positive stream, hopefully, where I talk about like what I'd love to see happen in the next calendar year. Piss tape. The release of the piss tape would definitely. I want to rebuild Blockbuster video from scratch, just so I can go and rent that piss tape. Although there's probably some issues there that I wouldn't be able to, resuscitate Blockbuster video. But a boy can dream. A boy can dream. Ephraim Christophorus, yourdreams.online. Man, YouTube, you are nailing it tonight. I have had so much in the way of random chatters showing up just to drop links to what I'm assuming is porn. But yeah, way to go, YouTube. You're killing it. Doing a great job. This is actually why I had switched to only Twitch chat. But this is working too. Always need to remember you can't unsee something. This is true. This is so true. I still remember coming home from school, a young lad, and no one was home, which was not an uncommon scenario in my home. My parents were both teachers, so they were often home after I got home from school. I got home, and I decided I wanted to play on the old Commodore 64 computer because I'm that old. And so I went downstairs and opened the door to the computer room, which was like a spare bedroom, and there were candles, and there were naked parents. And I remember it in vivid Technicolor. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast most days. I can't remember fucking nothing. But I remember that, because you can't unsee something. One of them might have the piss tape. Yes, the Russians have got... And it's a Russian piss tape. Like, this actually... That's probably what this is they're just like, why don't you click on links, stupid Westerner? These links will take you to piss tape. Donald Trump. He's so soggy. Oh, man. What else was good about 2021? I got rid of neck fat. I put it back on But there was a brief period where I had no neck fat. It was pretty fucking fantastic. I'm not a terribly vain person, but when COVID started, like, you know, the first couple of months, I was like, okay, we're good. And then I was in a Teams call, and I noticed that my chin wasn't really a chin anymore. And I was like, whoa. And I looked, and I was like, I actually haven't put on any weight. Somehow I've managed to just, you know, make my neck look like my grandmother when she moves her arm like this. And then I got rid of that by doing things like chewing gum and doing exercises and things. Chewing gum to like tighten up muscles and things. And then I stopped, and here we are. I got diagnosed with high cholesterol in 2021, and have not been a very good boy about taking cholesterol pills because I don't care. The world is a tire fire, and it just isn't a thing for me. I enjoyed, one of the best things about 2021. So, and I just thought of this because I see my tattoo that says sedition. A lot older than most people talking about the word sedition these days. I enjoyed the aftermath of January 6th. I genuinely loved watching this group of people who felt that they were in the right just get fucking railed. I wish I could just not take pills. It would be a really smart idea for me to take those pills, especially as a smoker. That's actually why he prescribed the pills for me. My doctor said to me, like, okay, so your cholesterol is like a little bit on the high side. It's not in a danger territory, but it's at the point where we should care about it. And I was like, oh, this is the first time I've had any kind of like legitimate health issues. And I was like, okay, well, what does all this mean? He goes, well, you can quit smoking, or I can put you on chemicals for the rest of your life. And I was like, oh, dude, I will quit smoking. I don't like smoking. Smoking is stupid. And I've needed a reason to quit smoking. And so I got hooked up with them anti-smoky pills, and they fucking worked. They worked like a dream. I was worried about having bad dreams, didn't have bad dreams. I was worried about, would they actually work and everything? Oh yeah, I could go long periods of time without having a cigarette. But something about being in COVID, cigarettes are one of the ways that I both nurse my pain and punish myself. Your ex was suicidal on those? Yeah, there's a lot of people that have some serious fucked up side effects from them. I was super stoked not to be one of them. I had taken a different kind many years ago, and I took like literally one pill, and I don't sleep well. I sleep great, but I sleep for like little short bursts of super deep sleep where I don't remember my dreams, I don't nothing, and then I wake up and I'm like, bam, I'm up and I'm good. And I took one of these pills, and the next morning, waking up was like the hardest. It literally was, I had to like pull myself out of my bed because I knew I had to get up. And I was like, this is fucked, I'm not doing this. So I was expecting these to be really bad, and they weren't, and it worked for me. But I just did not give fuck number one. And I kept saying, like, I kept buying these fucking pills and taking them and being like, yeah, I'll quit. But I just didn't care. And this is an expression of genuine low-grade depression. Low-grade, I'm not like an at-risk person or anything like that, but just that total, like, I don't give a fuck if I die. That's probably not healthy. Because the thing about cholesterol is, we all know it builds up around your arteries and veins and stuff. My doctor explained this to me. He said there's basically there's this crunchy outside layer, and then this gooey inside layer. And the crunchy outside layer keeps the gooey inside layer inside. And if the crunchy outside layer breaks, the gooey stuff travels through your bloodstream, hits your heart, and kills you instantaneously. This is why there's a risk from having buildup of cholesterol. And I was like, well, that's pretty fucked. I don't want that. But, like a lot of people have cholesterol issues, so he's probably overstating it. He goes, I am. But one of the things about nicotine is nicotine weakens the crunchy outsides. That's why smokers have a higher instance of high cholesterol related heart attacks. And I was like, well, that's fucked. So I know I should not be smoking. I know I should be doing all kinds of things differently. But here we are. Thanks, COVID. Imagine the apathy well in imagine the apathy well in year 3 of COVID. Yeah, I fucking hope we don't get to year 3 of COVID. But we probably will. I mean, realistically. My fear right now, everyone keeps talking about, like, wouldn't it be great if Omicron was like, you know, all the data shows that it's really not that terribly horrible to deal with, and like it's, you know, super less likely. And if we get to the point where it's just like a regular cold and all that stuff, and that's super cool and it's a great idea. The problem is that Delta. I'm not saying, oh boy, Delta will get us, because Omicron will probably make Delta irrelevant. The fact is, though, we had Delta, which was an extremely dangerous variant of COVID. Not extremely dangerous, but much more dangerous than the original variant. And my concern is, the more we flippantly disregard the whole thing with Omicron, the more likely we are that Omicron is going to have a Delta-ish variant that will be a lot nastier. Omicron with teeth, we'll call it, or Flipocron, whatever the fucking name will be. It'll probably be something horrible like Omega, and it will breed like Omicron and hurt like Delta, and that is a terrifying concept to me, and that's why I will be getting a booster shot. That will be a thing that I do. But yeah, I want COVID done. I know I'm the only person saying this in the whole wide world. Everyone else is super enjoying this. It's just me. But I want this done. I love working from home. I love not having to interact with a large number of people. But I mean, I'm a musician. I love playing gigs, and gigs they're not a thing that's happening right now. They will come back. There will be the wave of sporadic gigs, and I'll get to play again, and I love that. If it happens by February, I even have a gig lined up where one of my bands gets to open for a cool band. But I don't think it's going to happen by February. I think Omicron's going to kick the shit out of us for a while. But yeah, so should have quit smoking, didn't quit smoking. Got prescribed the cholesterol pills, not nailing being good at that. So yeah, if for whatever reason I just stopped streaming, it's probably because I had a gooey cholesterol-filled bubble burst and go into my heart and make me a dead man. Or because I, stopped streaming. What a horrible... I'm a fucking monster. I'm an introvert and I'm getting tired of this shit. I want to go out, drink a beer, listen to some music, hug people. I miss hugging people. Oh my God. Like, in those brief moments where I've felt okay to do so, not like, like I have a best friend, Karina, who is, I spend a great deal of time with her. She lives not terribly far from me. I can walk to her house. And I was her cohort all through the beginning phase. So, I was the one person, me and her son were the two people that she was allowed to legally visit. But like, hugging her is awesome because, she's a good friend of mine. But in those moments where I was able to like be comfortable hugging someone I hadn't seen in a long time in a bar or whatever, like, oh my God, there's no fucking price tag on that shit. Every fucking anti-vaxxer that runs around screaming about freedom, I just want to dick punch in the kick face. Like, I got nothing. Got your booster today, can't lift my arm past 90 degrees. Oh, Bri, what'd you get, buddy? What was the booster? Hi, Jack and I are here. Hi, YYC Live Music. Hi, Jack. How you doing, Jack? I hope you're doing well. I hope that if you're the Jack that I'm thinking, I hope that things are not too ridiculous with the result of the mean-spirited sheriff bitch throwing a camera at you and then charging you with assault for letting your head hit Taylor's camera. Whatever. If that's the right Jack. If it's not that Jack, then hi, Jack. Welcome to the stream. Oddly enough, my brain went, oh, Jack, that's Mark's old dog, who is dead now. I wonder why Jack's there. Moderna, I believe. Oh, see, my first shot was the AstraZeneca, and I had the pain. I had the pain in the shoulder. It wasn't debilitating, but it was annoying. And then right before I got my second shot, which I got Pfizer, I pinched a nerve, and it sucked. But also, my arm was already hurting. So I was like, I went there and I'm sitting down at the thing, and they're like, okay, where do you want? And I was like, well, I just pinched a nerve in this arm. And they're like, oh, so the other one? I was like, oh, fuck no. This one hurts. Like, why would I care about if it hurts a little bit more? And it didn't. There was like zero side effects. So I don't know if that's a Pfizer thing or what, but it could just be that because of the fact I was already in annoying pain, that everything was good. But I'm planning on getting Pfizer simply because by mixing and matching, apparently there's places that I wasn't able to go on holiday or whatever. Not that I'm fucking doing that, because poverty's a thing, but or not real poverty, fake poverty, the poverty that I live in, which isn't real poverty. Moderna hurts arms, but it's very effective. I'm hoping for my booster to be Moderna. And that's ultimately that's the biggest thing. It's not so much does it make me owie as does it prevent me from, getting and passing on COVID as best as possible. YYC Live Music, I just wanted to make sure you're fully aware that I love you and I hope you're doing well. So when it comes to the booster, I hope I get Pfizer, but ultimately I'll mix and match. I don't really give a shit. I just want to, not run risks. I think I've had all three at this point. Next is Johnson & Johnson. I seriously, like, if they were like, we get you Johnson & Johnson, we'll give you $50 for taking it, I'd be like, you keep your stinking money, buddy. That is a corporation that is fucking horrible. And I don't want any part of their products in my body. Now, I'm sure I have their products. I'm sure because they're one of those like global supranational, monsters. But fuck J&J. I have 2 Moderna because that's what my family clinic got. Perfect. Yes. I work in health and I don't want the J shot. Yeah. She loves puns. What do you do? Are you like when you say you work in health? Do you work in like hospital setting? Do you work in a clinic? Just curious because you're new, and new people are awesome. And let's get to know you a little better. I work in a terrible, evil energy company. They're not terrible and they're not evil, but the world thinks that all energy companies are terrible and evil, and they're not all the way wrong either because. Climate change being a real thing, that's a thing. But it's an interesting place to work because the president of our company is very he puts on the front of being very woke. I don't know him personally, and I don't get the impression like he is a terribly woke bloke, but he talks a good game, and he. We were very quick to go into work from home mode. Admin in academics and research at the U of A in medicine pulmonary. Oh, that's fucking cool. And YYC Live Music and I both play in a band with a buddy of ours who is he works at the University of Calgary, and he's in charge of the lab. Animals, like he keeps the animals alive that are involved in animal testing, which again, most people would go, oh my god, animal testing, but me, I'm like, yeah, the animal testing is a thing that has to happen sometimes. It's super fascinating. When COVID hit, so I have 3 bands, and all 3 of them have drummers that were needing to be really, really aware. 2 of those drummers are immunocompromised in some way, and the third one was this person, and his company. He works for the university, and universities don't have deep pockets, so they basically said, like, you're the guy that knows all of the I don't know what the term is for it, but how much food, when to feed, all of the daily plan for all of these animals. that are in support of some very important, people's doctoral research and shit. Like, you can't get sick because we can't possibly get all of the information out of you. So, we were really, really hesitant on the whole let's jam thing for quite a long time, just to be aware of that for those people. I'm glad that we all got vaccinated and we're able to be in bands. One of the bands I was in, some of the people didn't get vaccinated, and that's not a band I'm in anymore. So I started a new band because that's what you do. And this has been such a funny time to see all of the people who I just assumed would not be dumb fucks waving that dumb fuck flag and being like, the thing about the government and mandates, oh, shut your mouth. It's not a big deal. My anti-vax ex-wife got vaccinated. That's a thing that happened because while I disagree with her in a lot of her opinions about vaccines, she's not all the way, vax pilled, whatever you want to call it, and was smart enough to be like, this is a disease almost perfectly tailored to fuck me over. I'm going to take this seriously. And so she should. She claimed to never be anti-vax. Oh, worse than that. She told Karina, my best friend, for those that are watching, she told Karina that I was the anti-vax one and that I was the reason the kids weren't vaxxed. And I was like, oh, really? 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 Like all the time now, because I have people in my family who are those people. Yep. I told on my aunt to my grandma for breaking COVID mandates over Christmas. It's like, I get why people want to do it. I get why people feel like they get the get out of jail free card. But like, I work with really, really closely with a project manager that I work with. Fantastic human being. Last Christmas, they had a family gathering, and the family came down with COVID. And right before the Christmas break, he told us that he got COVID and his mom had COVID, and she was really not doing well with it. He's got like a good decade on me, if I was to guess. And so she's going to have like 30 years on me. So she was not doing good. She was in the hospital. And right before things, the end of people working for the most part during Christmas, she got out. There was a huge relief. Oh my God, that's wonderful. And a couple weeks later, when everyone comes back, he and I are having a meeting on some project stuff. And I was like, hey, how's everyone doing? And his mom died. She got out of the hospital, and then her lungs just like gave up, and it was fucked. And she, they had her in the hospital on oxygen, and she died. And, I don't think that was worth it. I have a few people in my universe that I'm seeing because they need a safe place, but I'm mostly isolated after I caught a cold over 2 weeks ago and not worked for a week. Is this okay, do you think? I'm nervous. Yes. This is the thing, is we cannot be bulletproof. And this is the message that people need to understand, is you aren't expected to be bulletproof. You have to just, do risk mitigation. As best as you possibly can, do what you can to protect yourself and those around you. That means, sometimes you're going to make choices. I've played gigs. I did that knowing that I'm increasing my risk. My kids have gone over to friends' houses. That increases our risk. It's a question of how bad do you increase the risk, how much do you take on, and whether or not it pays off. You can get COVID from getting in an elevator to go down and check your mail, and someone who was in the elevator 10 seconds before you coughed and had COVID. It's not a perfect world, but we're vaccinated, we're making smart choices, we're doing the best that we can. And so don't beat yourself up over am I doing the right thing or not? You are doing the right thing. You're doing the best you can. You isolated after you caught a cold. and you haven't been working, I'm scared about your job, honestly. YYC Live Music is a person that works in the bar industry, and that's a sketchy world. Even like the last show that I DJ'd, I'm very anal about the mask, and very anal about, like, you know, if I'm DJing a show, no one better fucking be there. That's not entirely true, but they're not like giant turnouts. Do you need a smoke? No. You're good? Okay. Yeah, they're not giant turnouts, because I wouldn't want to put people at risk like that. When we've played gigs, they have not been, you know, like, I have not tried to make, like, let's sell 10,000 tickets. It's like, let's have a fun show and see who comes out, and hopefully it won't be too terribly bad, because it's all, again, it's risk avoidance. This is my day job. I spend a lot of time looking at risk, where I'm doing a whole disaster planning, disaster recovery scenario process right now. I'm also leading the team for doing network segmentation surrounding what would happen if bad things happened in the main environment. How do we continue doing the control systems that are necessary for the company? So risk avoidance and risk aversion and all that stuff is like my stock and trade these days. This sucks so bad. Like, I work in a room where 2 weeks ago there was a full room and nobody wears masks. But when I'm not there, I'm depressed. It sucks. This is the fucking uncool trick about all of this, is we are social creatures. We are social creatures who live in a capitalist economy and need to work. We're social creatures who also like to be around people. Like, YYC Live Music, for those not aware, is my eldest kiddo. When your mom and I broke up, I was living in a friend of mine's basement, Crazy Andrea's basement. And I was doing all right, but, you know, what I would typically do is, like, you know, random day, I would, like, go over and have a beer at the shitty pub across the street. I didn't have to have a beer in the shitty pub. I didn't want to interact with anybody. I would put headphones on and I would read a book of poetry, because I'm a dork like that, and drink a beer and stuff. But I just needed to know that there were other humans in the world, because living in my little basement didn't feel that way. And I was going mental. This is the same kind of thing, right? We're all living in this fucked up environment where we have that social need and it's not being met. And, you know, like, you can have someone living with you, or Fictuous Do could tell you about vor.ong. Thanks, YouTube, for another spammer. This has got to be a record for streaming today. We've got nothing but Russian spam bots happening, and Kitty Jerkfaces over on the YouTubes. But yeah, like, you know, we're all we can do is the best we can do, and we're gonna make mistakes, and we're gonna make decisions that maybe we shouldn't have made, and hopefully it all works out. But this is living, right? It is no harder and no softer than that. The elevator in my building is far from a safe space for COVID. People will jam maskless into elevators here. It's gross. Yeah. Like, where I work, I've had to go into my office a bunch. And, despite the fact that we're on work from home, I was doing I was actually making training videos for video conferencing software, because the executive assistants that I have to train don't have time for me to train them. So I was in and out of this thing, making my fucking little videos about how to turn on the big screen. There were a few times where I'm in the elevator, and because obviously the floor that I'm on is like the very top of the building, because it's where the executives live. And not that I'm an executive, but that's where their conference room is. And then the very bottom is where there is food to purchase. So I would, go for lunch and go down the elevator, and the doors would open and like 4 people would pile in. And I'm like, no, this is cool. This is exactly the fact that we have like 8 or 6 elevators available specifically for this one group of people. We all have to cram into the one. That's fucking cool. I'm super introverted homebody, and I find it hard. I cannot imagine for everyone else. Yeah, like, I'm Gen X. Gen X, my childhood was latchkey, right? I got a key to the house, and we come and go as we please. And, we read books. We did all sorts of things to pass the time, because there was no cellular data systems. And, we could entertain ourselves. I'm good at this. I am not good at this. I am fucking having a hell of a time. And I'm an introvert, despite appearances to the contrary. Like a deep introvert. I don't like other people a lot of the time, but you know, I'm missing it. And even at the start, it was fucking rough. Reported. Good. Thank you, Kitty Jerkface. I have a purpose over here. Yeah, you're weeding out the Russians. Bry, I stay in a lot of hotels. Most are good, some not so much. Yeah, your job is one that requires a great deal of hotel living, and I can imagine that adds a whole pile of stress to your life right now. And YYC Live Music. Oh yes, my building elevator sucks so bad too. Add dogs to the maskless idiots. I just imagined people putting masks on their dogs and was like, well, that's just silly. And, you know, realistically, it's not. You know, this is a disease that we are pretty sure has jumped species before. Although, obviously, probably not a thing that we need to worry about with, you know, like, I'm near a dog, what if I get sick? But, yeah, maskless idiots with dogs who probably don't know how to manage their dogs. That's a whole fucking monster. And I remember when I helped you move in, there was a lot of like good sized dogs in that building, which was weird because normally, you know, if you're in an apartment building, it's like no dogs, or you can have little tiny shitty things that can fit in your pocket, but that's it. Cats have been confirmed to get it. I heard that, and I didn't hear anything more about it. I believe that's the case, but I'm not 100% sure. So I will take your. That's not me going like, well, you need to prove it. Do your own research. That's me going, I will take your word for it, because I'm not doing research. I'm drinking AGD. Another reason for me to stay extra safe. I don't know what it does to cats, but it's not worth finding out. Yes, Kitty Jerkface has some fantastic cats, and I would not want them to become sick. For me, it's the weirdest thing because like I have people in 2 of my 3 bands who are directly immunocompromised. So like I do not want to take any risks with their health, even though they're vaccinated and in fact, I think they've both had boosters now. But I just, I take that on myself as I want to make sure that I'm not putting them at risk. But aside from that, like my parents live in a different province. I'm not the poster of health by any stretch, but I'm pretty fucking healthy. And the chances of me having a bad outcome are not that great. They're not that awful, but like, I'm sure I'm like 75% cool. Maskless idiots who tell you to take off your mask because it scares the dog. True story. Scares the dog? Like, what happened to that dog? Dogs, like, I'm sorry, ma'am. Your pants are making my dog very unsafe. Mm-hmm. What a fucking thing. Like, oh, your mask is making my dog, like, unless the mask is, like, of a dog being murdered. Like, Brian, if that's your mask, don't wear that mask. But, yeah, no, that's fucking wacky. And it's funny, because, like, I've been having a chat about the whole Bill C-24, the hijab ban in Montreal, which is a weird topic because as an atheist, I generally look at hijabs and burqas and things like that as forms of oppression, because I'm an ignorant jerk. But I also recognize that there are people who genuinely want to wear a hijab or a burqa or whatever. Whatever the circumstances behind that, it is not my place to judge. So I find it weird that everyone's always freaked out about, like, you walk into a bar and you got a mask on. Like, how am I supposed to tell what you look like? And then we go into a bar and we've got a mask on and expect that people will just know what we look like. The number of people that I have seen get offended when the bartender is like, can you, so I can, make sure this is you. Whoa, thought we were COVID. Fucking goddamn. But it turns out human beings can be reasonable, or they can be douches. Oh man, my hair's all kinds of weird. I don't normally. I put like a little bit of pomade in normally, but because I started this with the whole CIA job interview joke that I was thinking was hilarious, probably solely the only one that thought that was hilarious. But I came out and I was wearing a suit coat and all this stuff, and I slicked my hair back, and then, but when I put in gel, it goes straight, and my hair's never straight. So right now I just feel like I'm a 1970s punk from New York City. After speaking with Muslim people and being able to pick the brain of a very chatty guy from North Africa, I learned that it is a personal choice, at least where he is, and sexy apparently. And like I'm of both minds on it, because I know that there are people who wear various things like the hijab or burqas or whatever, who do so because of a whether it's societal or familial or whatever, but a genuine like, you have to do this. But I also know that there are people who choose to. I like the idea of preventing that first thing. I like the idea of saying, like, you can't make someone wear that. Fuck you. Not allowed. But how do you know? And if somebody wants to wear a hijab or whatever, how is that my fucking business? The example I gave when I was having this conversation and somebody was saying, like, I'm fine with the hijab, but not anything that covers the face, because that's, how do I know who you are and all this shit? And I was like, it's a sketchy little slippery slope you're on. I hate doing slippery slope arguments, but are you going to say to someone who is, like, if it's all about you can't be showing off your religion, are you going to find a Mennonite woman and be like, no, you have to dress sluttier than this? Because it's clear to me that your gingham dress is evidence of your being a religious person of Mennonite or Hutterite or Amish or whatever. Are you going to tell a Hasidic Jew that they have to cut their I don't know what they're called, but the curls? Like, it's just fucked. The Quran, Muslim faith, says it should be a choice. You are supposed to wear it, but it needs to be a choice, from what my Muslim friends explain. And that's what, my Muslim friends have all said the same thing, that it is entirely up to them. I believe that in certain more extreme regions, like I think Saudi Arabia, it's very much a, like, you wear the fucking burqa because, or not necessarily a burqa, but you wear some kind of covering, because otherwise, you're an affront to the Allah or whatever. Like, and I think that is like an extremist view as opposed to an Islamic view. I think it's abhorrent to force anyone to wear one. 100%. Yeah, that is the cultural doctrine more than religion. Exactly. I believe that is exactly the thing, that, like all stuff, you have people who become extreme about their perspectives and their views, and if you attribute that to religion, that's valid. But it's pretty much everything we do. I've been an extremist for being an atheist. I've been an extremist. Obviously, I wasn't blowing up buildings or taking over school buses or anything. But when I became an atheist, I became a prick. Absolutely, I know that I was a pain in the ass. New Catholics who wear belts of thorns, like Catholics who wear belts of thorns and whip themselves. Yeah. What is Saint Catherine Tekakwitha? I'm probably saying that wrong, but the first indigenous, I don't think she's a saint yet. And I don't know how accurate the story is, but I read about her life. How did I read? Oh, you know what? It was a Leonard Cohen book. But Catherine Tekakwitha is a legitimate person. Let's jump over and we'll see if we can do a quick Googling of Catherine Tekakwitha, so y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, Catherine Tekakwitha, Kateri Tekakwitha. Given the name Tekakwitha, baptized as Catherine and informally known as Lily of the Mohawks, so she was 1656 to 1680. She's a Catholic saint, so she did get sanctified, and virgin who was an Algonquin Mohawk, born in the Mohawk village of Ossernanon. Oh fuck, I'm saying that wrong. Ossernanon, on the south side of the Mohawk River in present-day New York State. She contracted smallpox in an epidemic. Her family died, and her face was scarred. She converted to Catholicism at age 19 when she was baptized and given the Christian name Kateri in honor of Catherine of Siena. Refusing to marry, she left her village and moved for the remaining 5 years of her life to the Jesuit mission of Kanawake, south of Montreal, and the St. Lawrence River in New France, now Canada. Took a vow of perpetual virginity. Upon her death at the age of 24, witnesses said that her scars vanished minutes later and her face appeared radiant and beautiful, known for her virtue of chastity and mortification of the flesh, as well as being shunned by some of her tribe for her religious conversion to Catholicism. She is the fourth Native American to be venerated in the Catholic Church and the first to be canonized. So I didn't know that there were others that had been venerated, but first to be canonized. Oh shit, I didn't do the button. That was good interneting. I'm so good at stuff. She is a saint. My dad used to be a Catholic priest. Oh, that's interesting. I've never been a Catholic, but I was raised in the United Church, which is quite markedly different than Catholicism. We were a very hippie church. So my parents, who are not very hippie Christians now, they're slowly descending into evangelical realities. But the church that I grew up in, we would do things like we would have the wife of the minister was a dancer, and so she would do contemporary dance in the sanctuary as part of the service. On occasion there would be a story from the Bible that she wanted to perform as an interpretive dance and stuff. Like, that's the kind of church I went to. Super hippie. Yes, very different from your traditional upbringing. The traditional upbringing of Catholicism is a whole different thing. I'm glad that I didn't get that. I can't speak to what it really was like. I get movies and TV, and that's about it. But I feel like there's a lot of fire and brimstone in traditional Catholicism. Certainly, like the Church of England, which is not Catholic. It's the rebellion against Catholicism so that Henry VIII can fuck chicks. But a buddy of mine grew up in the C of E, and he was certain that Satan was behind every single bush. And that's kind of the mentality I associate with the sort of trad Catholic vibe. But again, what do I know? My mom joined the Catholic Church after I moved away from home. I was raised by my grandmother in the evangelical church. I won Christmas Jeopardy at my team party for a Bible info or something. Yes. I was, like I said, I was a very hippie Christian. But I was really into it. As a kid, I liked being a Christian, and I liked my faith, and I read a lot about my faith. I am by no means a religious scholar, but I can still have a good chat about the joys of the Bible and all the various quirks therein. We didn't have fire and brimstone. It was more about being stoic and moral. Heck, our priest rode a motorbike and wore leather. Well, that's fucking cool. That's way better than the image that I have. That's for sure. The stoic and moral, I'd never really nailed that. Stoic maybe, but not so moral. Kind of a man whore. It's the I want to get divorced church. Yes, the evangelicals. Or no, that's the C of E that you're talking about. But like the evangelicals, those people fucking get divorced, and there's no trauma involved. My uncle is what was at the time called a born again Christian, but is now a charismatic or an evangelical, whatever the terminology you want to use. And he got divorced, and like my mom grew up in a very pious sort of way, and she was really like both my dad's brother and my mom's brother both got divorced, and it was a real thing, to the point where when I got divorced, I was expecting them to be really upset with me, and then they were like, yeah, no, we get it. I think they got broken by the uncles, but when my uncle remarried, I was like, cool, I have a new aunt. Right on, that's awesome. I don't really know her, and I don't really know him, to be fair, although they live in town. But my parents were like, It's a scandal. I don't think that lasted long. Like they were very quick to embrace and love the new member of the family, but yeah, there was some eyebrows raised around the old Thanksgiving-a-rooney. My that traditional idea of divorce is is divorce a carnal sin or a venal sin, or like hey, there's a Catholic in chat. You can tell me. What kind of sin is divorce? Because I imagine it. Either way, I'm sure I'm burning in hell as a divorced person who does not believe that Jesus is my savior and all sorts of stuff. There's a special place in hell for me. But to be fair, it's been really cold out, and I think at least the first 20 minutes won't be so bad. I still, to this day, miss religion, or at least the community of religion, but I don't miss being religious. I went through a real crisis of trying to figure things out when I lost my faith and being like, God had always had a plan for me, and now I don't think there's a God, so there's no plan. And I was really freaked out about that. And then I had to kind of come to grips with, like, if I'm right and there's no plan, then it was me all along. I was the guy under the mask, and I'd have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids. My grandma wasn't happy about my parents divorcing, but the way she found out wasn't good. Dad's friend got pissy and outed him by saying, "Your son has left his family for a guy." Ooh, yes. Yes, I could see that being something of a challenge. What a dick move. Like, and especially because I'm assuming this wasn't like, in the last couple of years. It's probably, a ways back, and facts are facts. Homosexuality is a lot more accepted these days than it would have been, even 10 years ago. And for someone like a grandmother to be confronted with, not only is your son, guilty of the sin of divorce, but also is a homosexual. Like, I could see that being a real fucking, like, awful thing to do to a person. That's terrible. It's in the early 80s. Yeah, in the early 80s, I was a kid. I was born in 73, so the early 80s was, my childhood. And what do I remember most is that, things like saying the FAGGOT slur, that was just par for the course. People would say that all the time. I do my best not to say such things because I think it's an ugly word. And we in my generation knew that it was an ugly word. And many of us chose not to use it, although that would be a strong lie to say that, oh yeah, we didn't do that. But most of us kind of got that there were gay people and that they were really real and that it wasn't probably the worst thing ever. It was really only like the cool kids who would use that. I remember there was a guy in our school who was, I'm certain he probably was gay. I never asked him. But just whether he was gay or not, he was a one of those people who really wears their heart on their sleeve, very creative, very emotional, all things that my shitty Gen X head goes like, oh yeah, clearly, probably a queer gay. But a nice enough guy, wasn't in my circle, but I knew of him. And like the cool kids did things like they wrote letters to boys, like notes, and put them in all of these boys, like every guy's locker, as a haha, isn't that funny that we just made the kid feel like he was a monster. Just genuinely, bullshitty. So when I got my ear pierced, my dad was like, "So you're a faggot now." This was my life. And we knew better, but the world around us didn't. So the idea of like, I've known a few people who left marriages because they were gay. That must have been like really difficult back then. These days, thankfully, it is far less stigmatized. And if people are gay, hey, right on. What's that like? Do you need to meet any gay people? I know some gay people. We could hook you up. Very, very chill in comparison. I've always been a big, like, live and let live kind of fella. Even where I didn't understand, I've done my best, and that is not always a perfect, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not like, oh, I've been a bastion of perfection. But I've always tried to just be like, yeah, okay, you know what? Not everyone's going to be like me. Not everyone's going to feel the way I feel. And that's cool. I struggled with, when I first met, and I actually get it a lot clearer now. When I first, like, met my first time I met a trans woman, I was really, really in a different mindset about it. And it wasn't like a, kind of thing. It was like, oh yeah, live and let live. You do you. But I assumed that there was some kind of real, like, emotional problem. And I based this on the fact that in my mind, gender was such a core aspect of human experience, and to rebel against it would be like a rebellion against all of your, who you are and stuff, because I didn't know shit about shit. And the person that I had met, years later, I would realize they were stoned out of their fucking tree. So their eyes were like big and dead because they were fried as shit. And I was like, yeah, there was just something in their eyes was like not right. Fortunately, I figured out how stupid I was and learned a lot of things in the interim time. But yeah, that was, an example of me doing my best to be caring when not nailing it. Kitty Jerkface, I think my comment may have been selectively removed for bad language. Oopsie doodle. Which comment? Obviously, if it didn't make it, it didn't make it. But that's how I want to be referred to as now. Queer gay, and my and my man vag is called ogre pussy, and that's a whole other. Ogre pussy is amazing. Oh my god, Kitty, that is fan-fucking-tastic. Look at my ogre pussy. Like, I will make death metal growls that say ogre pussy just so you can, like, push a button near your bed and it will, like, blare that for you. I 100% am down with the idea of it being an ogre pussy. Oh yeah, I guarantee you Twitch would have been all up in you about that. And Twitch is so funny these days with their sporadic use of certain words that they're gonna freak out about the word that rhymes with slacker situation that happened, things like that. Meanwhile, there's hate groups posting online, like, that's cool, whatever, Twitch. I'll grab a screenshot of the context and post it in Discord. Yes, do that. That's, yeah, absolutely. Post it in the Discord. Yeah, that means I have to look at Discord. Wait, I have Discord open, don't I? I do have Discord open. Yeah. Yeah, so when it gets posted, I'll see it. Ogre pussy. I fucking love that. Yeah, queer gay. I found that the best thing I can do is make light of when people are uncomfortable with words like queer or gay or whatever, and like queer gay, homo gay. You're one of them homo guys. Stuff like that makes me feel good. Common house. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna have to share this screen so that people can see what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna have to figure out real quick. I'm gonna do it on the fast. Where's my Discord window? I wanna go. Where the fuck is? Oh, I'm so good at this. And if I move this over. Not that. And the Discord window just went away because why wouldn't it? Yeah, it legitimately just went away. I'm super fond of OBS. Okay, I'm just going to remove that and I'm going to create a new Discord capture really, really quickly. Let's say window capture. now I have to quickly... God, this is so boring for all of you, watching me struggle like a moron. It still fucking doesn't show up. What the blue hell is going on here? I don't know. Oh, you know what? It's probably because I'm in streamer mode. Maybe if I turn that off, disable, does that do it? Don't think that made a difference. Yep, did not made a difference. Classic Discord. All right. So, anyways, take my word for it. Someone shared a thing and it says leftist prayer circle, and there's a bunch of candles and it says ogre pussy in the middle. And then infrared. Leftists have an in-group cult sexuality where they reward correct thinking with communal ogre pussy, and the 510s become famous leftist e-girls who the soy males fawn over as the ... From now on, I'm going to call my man vag ogre pussy. That's awesome. Hawes is a creep. Just putting that out there. Hawes is a fucking creep. Classic Discord. Yes. Discord being all Discordy. All right. Well, you know what? It's a little bit past 10 my time, and I think it's high time for me to call it a night. I want to thank everyone for joining me. Thank you very much for engaging and chatting and having fun. It has been awesome. I will be back on Saturday, so in a couple of days. But I need to eat pizza, which I have not eaten yet. Hopefully I'll keep all my teeth this time. And yeah, in the meantime, yeah, total creep. I legit infrared like him, and I was making fun of like all of the tankies earlier. I didn't mention infrared for reasons unknown, but that Jordan Hinkle or whatever his fucking name is, and Caleb Maupin and stuff, like, fuck them all. Looking forward to Saturday. Take care of the chompers. I'll do my best. And yeah, Saturday we're going to do the year in preview, where we figure out what 2020 or 2022 is going to look like. All right. Once again, thanks, guys. I appreciate that you guys took time to hang out, and I'm going to end the stream.